Calaroga Shark Media.
Hello, I'm Johnny Mac with your daily comedy news. Did you watch the debate last night? Jimmy Fallon pointed out that CBS had the Amazing Race and NBC has the opposite. Jimmy Kimmel said Chris Christie, Nikki Haley, Vivek Ramaswamy, Tim Scott, and Ron DeSantis. What a lineup. It's like if all the Avengers were Hawkeye. Sarah Silverman was joking about WeWork going out of business and said WeWork went from a $47 billion company to bankruptcy. Somewhere out there, Elon Musk is going, oh, challenge accepted. Trevor Noah's new podcast is out today. It's called What Now? The official description, listeners can hear Trevor going deep with his guests, including entertainers, CEOs, actors, athletes, and thought leaders. In each episode of the new pod, Trevor Noah will have an extended discussion with a single guest. They did not announce in advance who the first guest would be, and I did not get up at 3 a.m. this morning to find out. But it's out there now if you want to check it out. Trevor Noah told Variety, we're very lucky. We have a mix of massive stars as guests and some people who nobody knows. Not everybody you speak to has to be a superstar. Somebody will be number one at the box office. Somebody will be a scientist who will change how we live for the rest of our lives. The main thing I can say to you is expect to be in some way, shape, or form entertained and engaged. Trevor said, I'm not going to create an echo chamber. It's a space for dynamic conversations. There's no denying that many of us, and I mean on many levels, creators, public figures, and individuals have created echo chambers in their lives. We cease to have conversations with people we don't agree with. We don't interrogate our own ideas because we've grown comfortable with them. That limits our ability to think and grow over time and create connections with other people. I don't think I've met a single human being where I don't agree with them on something. Does he miss the Daily Show? Trevor said, I miss the people in a lot of the show, but in life you sometimes have to let go of something to grab another thing. My biggest takeaway is how much I enjoy having long-form conversations with people, which seems like something you would say when promoting a podcast about long-form conversations. Trevor's excited about the podcast format. Not only can they be longer conversations, I don't have to worry about cutting away just because of time, meaning those commercial breaks that come at set times on TV. I could be at a space where I can make the show as long or as short as it needs to be. Each episode is expected to run about 40 minutes. Which he said is about the average commute time. Trevor, who put that in your brain? There was a study out this week. The average commute time in the United States right now is 27 minutes. It's longer in certain cities, for example, New York, Los Angeles, some of the bigger Texas cities. But on average, it's 27 minutes. I don't know what executive told you 40 minutes. It might be one of the executives who let me go from my old job. Let's not go there, John. Trevor said, I never want to make something too long. I always like to make something I would also be willing to listen to. There are moments when it's funny and there are moments when it's very serious. What people should expect is my life. My filter on the world is everything is imbued with some things that are funny and some things that are serious. So it sounds like there's a bunch of these in the can already if he's saying there are moments when it's funny and there are moments when it's very serious. How many of you pre-recorded? Trevor, how topical is this thing? And I like Trevor Noah a lot. I always find myself laughing with a person. That doesn't mean the conversations are frivolous or trite. When I was growing up in South Africa, there were terrible times, but I don't remember a time when we weren't laughing. That's the paradox of living. He was asked about Comedy Central dropping Hassan Minhaj from the chair. Trevor said, perfect example of why you need a podcast. In this interview, I don't have time to give an answer that is long enough to be respectful of the situation. Nice dodge. Trevor is also okay with the ad, says it's the nature of the beast, and it's advertising that is paying for access to people who can't pay or won't pay for the product. If you were at the McDonald's in Indianapolis and you rolled through and you're like, hey, is that comedian Mike Epps? Yeah. Epps said, welcome to McDonald's. My name is Mike. May I help you? Apparently, Mike Epps had worked at McDonald's as a teen. Epps was honored by McDonald's owner-operators and presented with a 1 in 8 alumni McDonald's jacket. McDonald's has a campaign focusing on the statistic that 1 in 8 Americans has been employed by McDonald's at some point. Mike said of his first job, I was looking really cool and fashionable working at McDonald's. Everybody wanted something free. I remember all my friends coming to McDonald's like, man, you got a job at McDonald's, you're going to hook me up. I'm like, no, they're keeping count on those nuggets. Taught me sportsmanship, believe it or not, even though it's not a sport. Taught me how to work with people at a young age. Our youth need to see that it's okay to start at a level like this because it's not only a job, it's a learning experience. Great story. Oh, by the way, Mike Epps happens to have a new show on HGTV called Buying Back the Block that happened to premiere yesterday. Wow, that's weird. Homer Simpson is no longer strangling Bart. On the October 22nd episode, Homer meets a new neighbor. The neighbor says Homer has a strong grip. Homer says, see, Marge, strangling the boy paid off, and then adds, just kidding, I don't do that anymore. Times have changed. Some researchers have determined Homer has not strangled Bart since season 31. We're now in season 35, so if you're upset about this, he hasn't done it in 4 years and you didn't notice. The Simpsons wiki page tracks every strangulation ever on the show. And I don't know, maybe someday I'll need holiday filler. We can get into that. Bill Burr spoke to WEEI Radio. They were trying to get Patriots coach Bill Belichick fired. Burr said, "Why don't you guys relax? He has 8 rings. He has one more than Brady. He shut down John Elway. I'm done talking about this. The run and gun, greatest show on turf. Won 3 with a 6th-round draft pick. And then everybody was calling Brady a system quarterback. And then they win 3 more. And all of a sudden, Brady knows everything. And Belichick doesn't know anything, right? And everybody forgets the Seahawks victory. And everybody says that Pete Carroll screwed up rather than that was an unbelievable coaching job by Bill Belichick and his crew to have that defense ready for that play." Yvonne Orji has spoken about the pressures of being a 39-year-old virgin. She said she has felt so much pressure when dating. What if he wants to have sex with me? What do I say? What if he doesn't like me once I tell him he's a virgin? But she realizes now that she's that chick. There are going to be guys that aren't going to want to rock with you because you're a virgin, and that's fine because she's not for everybody that way. The Daily Beast was recapping some of their past interviews because Netflix has been doing comedy specials for 10 years. And over the years, they had asked comedians about their first specials. Taylor Tomlinson discussed quarter-life crisis and said, "On the one hand, you had my agent going, 'It's a great time to have a special right now. People are just watching literally anything. I noticed I dropped the G on going. My voice is going and the Queen's accent is slipping in today. Still feeling that marathon. Why it ruined my voice, I don't know." Taylor said, "It helped to be a new thing on Netflix a week before quarantine hit, but as the pandemic dragged on and on, she said, I started to feel like, well, I probably missed my window because people are going to forget it even came out. I thought I was going to be the comedy Tiger King." Anthony Jeselnik said, "You can't get darker as you get older because it makes you seem bitter, but if you start out dark, you can always soften and people will still remember what you did, and you're kind of like an old grandpa figure who definitely fought in a war and has done some stuff, but is now a sweet old man, but you can't go the other way. It's almost like being a punk rocker when you're younger. I'm 40 now, and I want to evolve and change as a person, as an artist. I want to be the type of villain the other villains are afraid of. We live in a world now where there are very real villains. I'm a comedian. People get mad at me, but I make people laugh for a living. There are way worse people out there that you should be upset with, and I like that I might make those people afraid." Some of the shows at the New York Comedy Festival tonight include Donnell Rawlings at the Hard Rock at 7 o'clock. Jimmy Carr, Carnegie Hall at 7. Jimmy Carr is playing in Philly on Saturday. I'm tempted to go down and see him there, but also the Beach Boys are playing right by my house, and I'm a big Beach Boys fan. John, why don't you go to Carnegie Hall? If you know John at all, John hates going to Manhattan. I don't care where you are. Manhattan is the hardest place to get to in the world. If you told me, hey, let's fly to Paris to see Jimmy Carr, I'd be like, yeah, cool. The flight doesn't bother me. The 2 hours to get to Manhattan, no thanks. Joe DeRosa plays the KGB bar. Is that the KGB bar from 20 years ago? Is that still a thing? No way. The Roast of Barbie by Character Assassination at the New York Comedy Club at 8. Rwanda's Finest at the Stand at 8. And tonight is Comedy Gives Back Laugh Aid at Gotham. Gary Goldman, Jessica Kirson, Jeff Ross, Aaron Jackson, and surprise guests for a benefit show. That's really good. The LA Times has been suggesting LA-based comedians you see at the New York Comedy Festival. They want you to go see Xiaoying Summers, known for her hit podcast, Tiger MILF. Summers says, I wanted to headline the Apollo the moment I decided to become a comedian. The Apollo is heaven for mega talent of color, and I'm determined to use my voice to amplify Asian American experiences. I'm proud of myself, and I'm pushing boundaries. I'm more than ready. The 800-Pound Gorilla website caught a bunch of shows at the New York Comedy Festival. They enjoyed Sophie Buttle. Sophie did a set that never stopped moving and managed to expand our vocabulary around U.S. regions by referring to Texas as being part of South America. They had Buttle works hard on her timing, and it shows. Zach Zimmerman was the headliner at that particular show. They say there was space for short one-off jokes and a set filled with larger bits about dating, seeking love as a queer person in a city that's hard to find validation in, growing up religious, doing naughty things to rats in Paris. I can't even tell you that. I think it's against the law if I told you what he said. Sounds like Issa Medina had a rough set at Brooklyn's Union Hall. The 800-Pound Gorilla says the crowd was bad, as Brooklyn audiences sometimes are, and they were unsure if they could laugh at Medina's unique and important perspective. Andrea Jin ran through material on loudness, dating someone younger, credit, and the facets of being Chinese. The audience lost it when she discussed having diarrhea, a UTI, and her period all at the same time, saying, quote, hold your ears, all holes were activated. You're laughing. The 800-Pound Gorilla also liked August White, who ran through material that was feminist, sex-positive, silly, and also formidable. They write, there's a lot of bad comedy right now, but White gives you something to feel inspired by. There's a sense it's just a matter of time before she takes off in a big way. Ashton Womack deserved better from the audience. Eben Kulkarni drove in from New Jersey to talk about posture, the weirdness of video games like Call of Duty trying to sell the idea of war to kids, and trying to connect on LinkedIn. The set was hot, and Kulkarni used every second of it to its fullest comic potential. Mohand Ashiki is someone ready for a large special, says the 800-Pound Gorilla, and if this article can help move that along in any way, it succeeded. Interesting. Serini Wirasekera is a whirling dervish of energy that delivers club-ready material in a charged woke package. Everything from ungrateful babies and Cayman Island pillow menus to white audience discomfort and race gets filtered through a delivery that's on 1.5 speed. And the 800-pound gorilla says Abby Govindan headlined and did something special. Abby is funny, but there's a real tenderness, kindness, and generosity to her comedy that feels personal. It's like if you had 100 dogs sitting in chairs and called each of them up by name to get a diploma. Truly someone to watch. All right, we'll keep an eye on those names. Heather McMahon is taping her special tonight and tomorrow at the Fox Theater in Atlanta, Georgia. I've been there. That's a solid theater. Heather McMahon was called by The Hollywood Reporter the next big thing. You can find her debut stand-up special, Son I Never Had, on Netflix. Heather McMahon, Fox Theater, Atlanta, tonight and tomorrow. And that's your comedy news for today. If you like this podcast, tell a friend about it. They might like it too, you know? You can follow it for free on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Overcast, Pocket Casts, wherever you get your shows. Meet you here tomorrow.